What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Home Tour Podcast. It's me, Hunter Mitchell, joined here by my host,
Braxton Dore.
Justin Chen.
and it's basketball day. Unfortunately, I mean,
No.
both teams have gone from we talked about how the glass was half full, now it's looking half empty, and I mean after a 35-point loss on the road and a double-digit loss on the road, also for men's and women's respectfully. It's looking rough. Both teams looking like they're maybe outside the field. I know men's for sure outside the field right now. A lot of problems going on. And frankly, it's just getting tiresome to talk about.
Is there any solutions in your eyes?
Yeah. It's get some people who can shoot the basketball and try again next year.
Also, I have a question. Do you think missing out Julius Marble is a big reason? Okay, yeah, that's what I figured too.
I think Julius Marble gets you 2-3 more wins possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Those really close ones. I think you have a Julius Marble down there in the paint against Vanderbilt. I don't think he makes that.
I don't think that shot goes up in the first
Yeah, I
place.
mean, we don't really have a presence in that paint right now.
But
I mean, we just really don't.
Like I said, we're tired about talking about it. It's been a lot. We'll definitely bring it up next episode, depending on what's happening. Maybe we're the bad juju. Maybe if we don't talk about it, things will change trajectory-wise. So, that being said, on this episode we have a very special guest. Our current, you're associate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your role is ever shifting, ever changing. I never even considered you as an associate, unquote. We have Miss Ishika, who is in her last days here with us at the battalion, going on to Texas A&M Athletics, done a lot of great photo stuff for us. I know we can give a clap.
Yippee!
I know we all have one hand on a mic, so it's kind of hard, but moving on to greener pastures. So we've talked informally about doing a podcast like this, about like what is it like we talk about the writing style all the time because that's what we do, but like what's it like from the sports photography side. So why don't you just introduce yourself and a little bit of what you do and have done.
Hey y'all, my name is Ishika. I was the former photo editor of the Bat, took a step away from that, but I've also served as the battalion's social media editor, managing editor, multimedia editor, and now I am the associate photo chief. And it's just taking care of a lot of the visual parts of what goes on at the Bat as opposed to the writing parts is what I've served as in my time here.
Yeah, you've worn a lot of hats, a lot more than I have.
Doing it all. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, Ish and I, we go pretty ways back. We've covered, we're there together down the trenches for every one of these late night basketball games. I'm finishing up writing, you're getting your stories going, and it's something that I think that as a writer I had to garner an appreciation for. But I think, I don't want to speak for y'all, but I think that photography kind of the same way. I think a good story with a good photo and vice versa does a lot for telling that story through sports, especially. And even like tone wise, I know every time we have one of these brutal losses, I'm like, Ish, did you get me a sad photo? And I always ask that question. I'm like, Ish, did you get a photo of a player with his hands over his face or down on the ground defeated? I'm like, we gotta set the tone here.
Capture the moment.
Yeah, and so I think that they always say, "Picture's worth 1,000 words." Now I can write 1,000 words, so I'm at least good. I'm at least good for one picture. But I just kind of wanted to ask you, just what is your favorite thing about about shooting sports in general, and then we'll get to a little more specifics.
I think as someone that didn't grow up in the States and wasn't around American sports growing up, I think being a sports photographer really forces you to learn the sport. It really forces you to learn players' names and the opposing teams and stats, because if you don't know anything about the sport that you're covering, you're not going to get good photos of it. If you don't know what a layup is, you're not going to get the layup photos. If you don't know what a dunk is, you're not going to get those photos. And you also won't understand which moments are important in the game. So when Hunter comes up to me and asks me, "Hey, did you get a shot of this?" If I didn't know what was going on or if that was impactful to the game, I wouldn't have gotten that photo. So what I tell my whole staff is that you cannot go to any sporting event without knowing the rules of the game, without watching a game before, without knowing who the team is. And that really goes into coverage the same way that you wouldn't have a writer go to any event without knowing the rules of that sport. So.
Yeah, I mean, so true. Like, I was actually going to bring that up if you didn't mention it. That's kind of, it's kind of that same way. It's really understanding what you're covering, especially because in sports, I feel like so much of it is, what's the word I'm looking for? Not ethereal, intangible. There's so much click, something happens, that's it. Like, that moment's there. Someone, that steal happens, you get a few seconds, and that steal is gone. Now, we have the wonderful ability of being able to capture that post-game, but for y'all, it's something that happens, and then immediately, like, if you don't get it, it's over. Did you ever have, like, covering a game, like a moment or something big that happened that you just went, damn, like, I really wish I could have got that, or I missed that? Did you ever have, like, any of those, or does that happen frequently?
Yeah, I mean, I think it happens a lot during football, out of anything. Because football, I think the shot that I missed, or none of our photographers got, was the Moose Muhammad hurdle. That one-hand catch in the hurdle that none of us got. And I think it happens, and it's just part of covering the sport, because you can't always get everything. But I think there is that, like, afterthought of, hey, we cannot go back now. Like, if we didn't get it, we didn't get it. Versus, like, for writers, I guess it's like, oh, we can still cover it, and it's like, okay, you're keeping track of the game. But, like, shots like that where it's like it happens once a season and you miss it, and it sucks, but it's also part of the art, and it's, that you're going to miss shots, and you just kind of move on, and you don't sulk over it, because you know that the next catch may happen any second.
Also, vice versa, what has been your favorite moment that you captured, and also what sport has been the most photogenic, I guess?
All my photographers know this. I love basketball. Basketball is a really fun sport to cover. I've covered every single home game this season. Got a chance to follow the team to the SEC tournaments last season, which was also really fun. Brutal loss to Bama that last game, but fun capturing the emotions. Like the emotions at that Vanderbilt game where everyone's smiling, and then being a newspaper, which I guess is not something I'll get to do for athletics, and capturing players' like tears down Solo's eyes, and getting to get all those photos. Really tells the story of the game. It's not always the dunks. It's not always the shots. Being behind the sidelines, getting coaches' reactions, getting players' reactions is also a huge part of that job.
So, across all the plethora of sports that you covered, what do you think is the hardest thing to capture, or like hardest, let's say, like, for instance, like a dunk, or like a home run, for instance?
Can I take a guess? Is it getting a hit in baseball? Getting a picture of someone actually getting a hit? I feel like that would be extremely difficult.
Somewhat. I'll pivot and say the hardest photo to get is the photo of a sport you don't know. If you don't know that the hit's going to happen, you can't anticipate it. Baseball's a little technical that way, in terms of, like, everything's so repetitive, but the hit only happens once. So, like, if you're sitting there and you're focusing on the hitter, you're going to get a hit photo. You're just going to have to sit there and take all those photos. But yeah, definitely the hardest photo to get is the photo of the sport that you don't know. I have trouble with baseball because I still have trouble understanding how all of it works. So I don't get very good photos of baseball. But I have, like, the associate photo chief who's taking my job over, Chris, knows baseball really well, and he'll get those hit photos almost every single game. So it really depends on what you know and how much you know about that sport.
Gotcha.
How taxing is it? Because, I mean, like, I can sit in the press box. I mean, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I covered baseball Friday, and between innings, when there was a down part in the inning, like, I was finishing up homework. I was
quick
like
2 minutes.
Yeah, I was working some stuff out, and so, like, but I feel like for photo you have to be engaged, like, often. Is it like mentally kind of like taxing sometimes having to always be like engaged like that?
I think it is, to an extent, but if you love what you do, it doesn't feel that way. So, I mean, we're down there in the trenches. You get to know all the photographers, whether they work for your publication or not. And we talk, and when there's timeouts, we'll sit there, we'll have conversation. And the culture behind the photographers here at A&M in general is just a huge part of why it's enjoyable to be out there covering games. But that being said, I'll always limit my photographers. Everyone will want to cover things every single day. Everyone's very motivated on my desk to do so. But just understanding that, like, if you go a week covering 4 events, you're going to get burnt out, and just avoiding the long-term consequences of that versus just getting every single game for me is more important. And a lot of our photographers also being students, it's easy to get carried away in what we do. So there is a balance to it, and it does get taxing. I will say you find out that it's taxing earlier than you do later. You find out that it's taxing when you are burnt out, and that's what we try to avoid.
So I have to ask, have you ever had one of those photographer gets mowed over by football player moments? Because
Wow.
I think it's
Wow,
what
that took me back.
I think it's what most people like recognize a lot of photographers for. And I mean, like I've tweeted about it a few times, but like one of the times I was watching, I think it was Texas and Washington, and Roma Dunze catches a pass and like on the sideline and it stops and stares at like a photographer, and I tweeted it. I was like, whoever that photographer is, just got like the hardest photo of all time.
And also in the NFL, that one, I don't think photographer, someone on the sideline like broke their leg in half against their Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, it happens. Have you ever been like had some close calls with? We'll say any sport, 'cause I know you talked about basketball.
I think, yes, you get a lot of close calls in basketball. Football's the scariest because they cannot stop. I think the Texas Bowl is the closest I've come to getting mowed over. I don't even remember who it was. I think it was one of our like third strings that was out on the field playing that game. Yeah, I don't even remember, but it is scary. You learn what to do, and you learn how to be safe on the field to prevent it. So like a huge thing is every time we get to football seasons, my rules for all my photographers is you're never sitting on your butt on the field because you can't get up fast enough because someone is going to come to you. And then you're either standing or you're sitting like one knee up, one knee down. That's kind of the thing. And if someone comes to you, do not get up because the football players will try to jump over you. So if you're trying to get up, they're going to like bump into you more. So if someone's coming to you, you know it's going to happen. Stay still. Like unless you have enough time, you know you can move away. Just stay still, stay in your position because they will try to jump over you instead of you moving, and then
stand your ground, truck them back.
No, for real.
That is nuts. That I mean, like it feels like a dub. Like the fact of like standard operating procedure for like, oh crap, I'm about to get mowed over. Like duck and just
duck and roll,
seek cover.
No, from my brief moments in high school, just covering games like that on the sideline for just video. God, I had a few times where I did get mowed over, and it was not pleasant, especially when you knew the guy that was mowing you over. You go to class with him on a regular basis. Like no, it was not fun. Bringing me back.
Being in the trenches. So you talked about basketball. What is like maybe one, I don't want to say niche, especially with Justin and his swim. Is it like a non-major sport that you really do enjoy, like getting photos of that like make really good photos? Because I mean, could be completely honest with you. I think most swim photos look sick as hell.
Mm-hmm. Like my favorite ones are where they're about to, on backtrack, they're about to break the water.
Oh yeah, and it's like
those
surface tension.
So tough.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Like those are really cool. Do you have any like other than the major sports that was like really fun?
I mean, I'll go back to swim. If y'all are not aware of like Texas A&M swim natatorium, it's dark. It's hard to take photos in, but there's an underwater window down there that you can get photos through. Yeah. It's really creepy down there. But if you go down there, like you'll get photos of them like jumping into the water, and it's just some really cool niche photos that you wouldn't be able to get at almost any other school without being like really technical about it and setting up underwater housing and doing all of that. So those are cool. People are always impressed by those because you genuinely cannot get them anywhere else. Tennis is another one. And I will say tennis is fun because it's easy, and you can get really creative. You can anticipate a lot of the photos, so you can be where you want to be, and things like that. Like football is hard because you don't know what's going to happen next, so you can't position yourself to be in the spot that gets you the best photo. So tennis and swim are the two like niche ones that are really fun to cover.
Yeah, I figured we'd have to talk about swim a little bit with Justin here, because I really do enjoy those swim photos. I think they may be my favorite. I don't know. There's sometimes where like I'll go through the gallery. There's sometimes where you'll put a photo up, and like because we just gotta get one photo up for the story. Story's going up quicker than a gallery, and I'm going through the gallery after, and I'm like, dang.
So many good ones.
I'm like, dang,
there.
that, like, why don't we use that one? Like, that one's like the best one. Like, there's some really, really great photos that we've had for basketball this year, and I've been a little spoiled for choice sometimes, where I'm like, I've had having Ish around it's I know that whatever player I want a picture of, she's probably got a picture of them that I can get up there, and so like, and then even Ish has an eye, and sometimes I'm like, that photo looks awesome. She's like, don't use that one. It's like that one's. She's like, this is bad. This part's bad, and like this part's bad. I'm like,
Setting you straight.
I'm like, you're fooling me because I think it looks awesome personally. But no, I've been really blessed to have an amazing person to take photos with me for basketball, covering basketball as downhills are heading now. We touched on it at the beginning of the episode. Maybe they'll turn it around. We'll see. Ish and I have our last game together this Wednesday, so super pumped for that. Like a little bittersweet. Kind of hopefully going out strong. It'll be great. It'll be
Oh, God.
Let's put on a PA.
We
can only
Finish the
hope.
last game. Y'all better perform.
it will be great to go out strong, finish strong. But in terms of questions, I don't have any. I just want to say, Ish, thank you for everything you've done. It's been amazing to take photos or write stories with your photos. And it's gonna be tough not seeing your bylines or your taglines there anymore. And I'm gonna miss you at basketball. I hope we somehow miraculously do make the tournament. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for everything you've done, Ish. Thanks for hopping on the pod today, kind of giving that look into sports photography and that, because we didn't really want to talk about basketball today. It's a little. I want to keep my day.
A little sore
I want to
subject.
keep my day.
Still happy.
Yeah,
Still
I
happy.
want to keep on keeping on today. But this has been the Home Tour Podcast. I'm Hunter Mitchell,
I'm Braxton Dore.
I'm Justin Chen.
And I'm Ishika Samant.
and we will catch y'all next time.